G'day scrappers. Good timing on the chicken. Happy New Year anyway. We're in the new year, well into it now, and I thought about time I did a video of some kind. So all I'm doing here at the moment is just scrapping out a whole heap of UPSs that have built up again. They always build up, and I need to get rid of them because they're very heavy, and they just I try and keep as little weight on the property as I can. Sometimes I can have almost a half a ton of UPSs just sitting around, and I've got these small ones that I'm just trying to get rid of right now, but mostly I've got very, very big ones, really heavy. I've already done a couple, so I thought since I've pulled these 5 out, I might as well get these little ones out the way and just have a little scrap chat, you know, just catch up with everyone out there. Yeah, hope everyone's going all right. It's still crazy times as usual, but we'll all pull through eventually. But yeah, I've been really busy. I've been doing scrap runs, just scrap steel, clean and dirty pressing. It was really busy leading up to Christmas, so it seemed everyone wanted to either get stuff picked up or drop stuff off here to sell, circuit boards and stuff. So yeah, I've been really catching up on a lot of e-waste that needed to be scrapped out, and so that's why I've done a couple of scrap steel runs, 2 full loads this week, so that's quite a lot of scrap steel. It's almost it was almost 2 ton of scrap steel. So yeah, it's certainly all still happening here. I haven't done any videos in the last week and a half, just haven't had time to set up or anything, and I've just been scrapping in between, just doing a bit of relaxing too, just not as much relaxing as I kind of wanted to, but I think I've got to have a break before street scrapping starts, at least, and before it gets too busy. I've picked up a couple of new clients. Really oddball stuff though. One is 3 different places, but it's mostly just audio visual stuff. That's just a low grade board. So but hopefully we get some good quality audio visual, like amps and things like that. Hopefully I don't get too many speakers, but I'm doing the first pickup in a few days time, so I might give you a little look at that. And yeah, it's the first one. They're actually museums. So the first one is not too far from me, and then a couple towards into the city. So yeah, as you can imagine, they do a lot of audio visual things. So hopefully I don't get too many television monitors or things like that, but we'll see. It might be, you know, sometimes that sort of stuff can be quite interesting, so we'll see what we can do with it all. I'd imagine that most of it's going to be just have to scrap it out to get rid of it, but you never know. You might get some good pieces to pass on or on sell or something, just to make a bit of decent money, because usually audio visual isn't very valuable at all, you know. It's all in the IT equipment when it comes to e-waste. making making money or getting value for money. When it comes to regular electronics, it's mostly base metal, and you know, even though copper and copper wire is good value, you need to actually do a lot of it. There's a chicken. There's this funny chicken, you know. A lot of the time when I'm scrapping, I don't see it, you know, it's just walking around. It might jump up and then jump back down. But as soon as I start making a video, it's like it knows I'm making a video. The other one doesn't care. But this one, yeah. As soon as I start making a video, there it is. That startled you, didn't it? Alright, so I'll clean this up. Just got to get this. I don't know why they put the wire into plastic. Just to make it a little bit harder. I'll clean that out. It's good gauge wire, but this one is just a little bit too thin to strip. If it was good long pieces, I would. But this is what I wanted to get out. Just all the batteries. Because my batteries are starting to build up again, and I just need to get rid of them, get the weight off the property, and it's going to get quite hot. It's a nice big transformer, so transformers are reasonably good value. I've also got to do a run of transformers and motors to the scrapyard in a week or so, so it might be a good opportunity to go and do a bit of a price update, price check on scrap, non-ferrous stuff. But these UPSs are really easy to scrap out, as you can see. Very straightforward, not many screws, and you know, the wire does build up. Again, just this is a low grade board because we've got base metal stuff all over here. This one, you know, it does have a few tiny little ICs and IC there. I mean, we can get away with doing this, just cutting each end, and if we can separate this part, at least we can get mid-grade for this side and low grade for this side. Yeah, so there you go. I mean, it doesn't make much difference, but why not get that extra? I mean, it's now worth almost 10 times more than if it was on here. Oh, sorry, not 10 times more, about 6 times more. But still, you know, it all adds up. And so now we've got 28 cents a kilo low grade power board and $1.70 a kilo a little bit of mid-grade board. Okay, not much rubbish, some ICs, some precious metal recovery on this one, just to you know, why not? It's there, it wasn't hard to do, so yeah. But the wire, you know, if I had 1,000 of these, the wire, you know, you'd get a lot of wire. And looks like a nothing board here. Just want to get rid of it so the plastic can go to plastic recycling. We could get away with leaving the circuit board on there because they got separators, but there's nothing on here. This is barely, you know, you can barely even call this a low grade board, but you know, it does have one tactile switch. Okay, we can get away with a few, but if I had bucket loads of this, I don't think my buyer would be really happy to buy that sort of stuff, you know. There's got to be something on there, even if it's base metal recovery. Well, you know, you've got to have a bit of base metal on there. Should take out the battery. So, yeah, I mean, UPSs, they're okay. This one had a bit of residual power in the battery. You know, it's not really much for precious metal recovery, but still, you know, we've got a good size lead acid battery. Goes with, you know, all your lead acid, car batteries, all that kind of thing, same thing. A nice heavy transformer, you know, weighs about 1.5 pounds, and the wire. So I'll clean these ones up later when I'm done. I just want to get these ones out the way so I can get onto the real business, the big ones. There's some of them are super heavy. One I done just a little bit earlier. I'll show you, see the transformer in this UPS. I'll show you the transformer I got from the one I just did before. Check out this baby. It's a toroidal transformer. Come out of a UPS. Oh, wow. That weighs about 8 pounds. You know. So when they're this big, I keep all the wiring, even the little ferrite coil here, just leave it how it was. I even keep the plates, the bolt, and so even the rubber bit here, just in case some people buy these off me, and I want to keep them complete. But even if they don't buy them, one day with all my toroidal transformers, I might start doing some interesting things with them. Once my one day with a lot of things is basically one day when I retire from scrapping eWaste, then I'm just going to play with all the things that I kept aside. There is absolutely no time to have too much fun outside of processing eWaste, because I've just got too much work to do all the time, you know. So no rest for the wicked, as they say. So yeah, we're certainly getting I'm already tired because I've been doing a whole heap of bits and pieces all day. I did a lot of cleaning up, sweeping, and so I've been puffed out for the last 2 hours. But I thought, well, I've got to catch up with all my friends on YouTube and, you know, just see how everyone's going, and let us know if you've found something interesting or scrapped something interesting lately. Always interesting to hear of some stories, what's going on out in the world. Although, you know, a lot of parts of Europe and America and so on, it's probably winter and snowing and God knows what. So probably a little bit harder to get out there normally, but well, it doesn't snow everywhere, I guess. And yeah, hoping that this year is a good one. So there we go, we've got 5 good size transformers. Fantastic. The more the better. When it comes to non-ferrous stuff, it's all about weight. Well, I guess it's all about weight for everything, even precious metals, hey. There we go. I'll clean them up. Alright, 5 transformers, 5 nice lead acid batteries. We're in business. 5 mostly power boards, but I will once again upgrade this one, only because if it had transformers on this side as well as ICs, I wouldn't bother. But because there's no real heavy dead weight, and you know, there we go. Mid-grade, low-grade, take all the wire off, and we got a low-grade. All right, I might get onto a real big one. All right, so now we've got a one of those big ones I was telling you about. Gosh, this one's heavy. Mge UPS system. Let's check her out. Well, one good thing is there's not as much plastic as the little ones. At least we get a bit more value there. So there we go. Got a looks like two big power boards and a smaller one here. And here's the battery compartment. So as soon as I find my screwdriver. So once you get to UPSs this size, you kind of got to be a little bit more careful in how you take it apart anyway, you know. You don't want to just get into cutting wires straight away. Just want to first disconnect the batteries. All right, that's a good start. Because yeah, if you go straight to cutting some of the, you know, the power wires on the board before you disconnect, you can burn a hole through your side cutters pretty quickly. I learnt that when I scrapped UPSs for the first time, and I got some of these big ones, and twice I've arced out the side cutters, and it scares the living daylights out of you, you know. The only annoying thing about UPSs, when they're just sitting around, sometimes the battery warning bell goes off, or siren, so you get this constant, you know, beep beep beep, and sometimes it can happen at night just out of the blue. You think, what is that? And I've got to get out there at night time, find the UPS that's making the noise, and yeah, try and disconnect it somehow. There we go. Typical UPS switches from Phillips to Torx. Okay, let's get this battery set out. Might as well get this board out. Clean up the plastic. Yeah, still a low grade board. Alright. Once we get the batteries out, we've got most of the weight out. So, and it just makes it a little bit easier to process. Sometimes if you've got to keep moving your UPSs around of this size, sometimes it's reasonably easy to slide the batteries out, but in this case we've got to undo this, so you're virtually halfway into it anyway. But sometimes it's easy just to slide the batteries out. Same with servers. Sliding out the power supplies from the back, sometimes there's 4 power supplies, and it just reduces the weight and just makes it a little bit easier to carry it around, you know, or putting it up on your bench, whatnot. So looks like it might be 3 batteries or 4 little ones. So I don't mind doing UPSs. It's just a little bit different than, let me fix up the mic, than doing you know, PC servers. As long as they're not too complicated. So we've got clean steel and 3 batteries. And sometimes, because I cut the plugs, sometimes I like to leave the plugs on. You know, why not just cut the wire off the plugs like that and get that extra weight on the battery. So this thick one, just have a look here. If it's tin plated copper, I generally don't strip, but even though this is just a small piece, it's big enough for me, it's thick enough for me to strip this one. Just a little extra. So, USA. Let's say valve regulated. Cool. All right, I'll get these off the table. So they were exactly the same size as the single ones out of the little ones. Only difference here is, all up, we've got 6 of them. So yeah, I reckon I've, since Christmas, I've probably scrapped out maybe 50 PCs. I'll just keep this part, this double one, I'll just throw it in wire. Yeah, so a lot of PCs, but I've also done a lot of switches and servers, and I've actually just picked up another big batch of servers. I might have to do a little server marathon. All right. Wow. Makes a big difference, I tell you. Less weight. So now I'll just slowly get into this system. Some decent wire here. Real heavy duty stuff this. So most of this will probably get stripped. Yep, it's pure copper wire. I mean, if it's really thick tinned copper, I will strip it, but it's got to be really thick and worth my while. Otherwise, I'm just happy to give it to the scrapyard as regular wire. Now that's a nice power supply. Sorry, or just a power board. So with this one, you can see these copper coils here with the nice exposed copper. There's 4 of them in there, right? I take these ones. Remember, this is just a low-grade board, so I try and get some value here, rather than just selling it as low-grade power board. As you can see, quite good copper for melting, and leaves us with the ferrite bead that we can also put into clean pressing steel. There you go. It all adds up, you know. Especially these days with copper prices. No dramas. So I'll take them, and that's not devaluing our board, you know. And aside from obviously taking our wire, there's some other options. These are quite reasonably wound copper coils. You can remove them. You can either sell them as transformers. Some people like to unwind the copper off the ferrite. And even if you took these two, it would still be a low-grade board. It's, nothing changes. There is some good aluminium here. But in my case, what I'll probably do is I'll just remove these ICs. Same as I showed before, you could cut this part off and sell it as mid-grade, but too much work involved there. Maybe just pinch the IC chips and leave it as a low-grade board. Maybe take these ones. This one doesn't have as good access as some. Either way, I'm happy. This board here, nice mid-grade board. It's got some ICs, stuff, clean off the wire, and we've got a nice little mid-grade board. Good, bonus. Another power board there, and a small one down the back here. So they're good value. It's just not, these aren't about precious metal recovery. Obviously, it's all just base metal recovery, but geez, with our prices today, and you know, mind you, not everyone gets good IT, but this is also part of IT equipment. Again, really nice, thick copper wire that's worth stripping. One more. there we have it. In this case, this is a much better wound copper coils. It's a thinner copper, but it's very densely wound, whereas this one's thicker copper, but I can already see the ferrite inside, so it's not really thick, dense copper. So aside from cutting out some good wire, yeah, same deal. It's purely a power board, but if we took off these coils, we're not going to, it's still going to be a power board. So for instance, I buy these power boards as low grade, 28 cents a kilo, whereas if you took these off and sold them at the scrapyard, you'll probably get 70 cents, provided that you keep it complete. I'll show you what I mean, because sometimes this part here, the coil is actually embedded into like a plastic resin stuff, really solid. So sometimes they break off it, and then you want to unwind the copper. But in this case, maybe this one, because I got good leverage. As you can see, that's all sealed. So if you wanted to take off the copper off this, you're not going to get the bottom side of it. It's all stuck on really tight, and it's just not worth the hassle. So you're kind of better off throwing this into transformers. Still getting, you know, rather than 28 cents a kilo on the board, we're getting 70 cents a kilo as transformers. Nice. Usually it's the bigger ones that kind of break apart, but because this is so tightly wound, it's not allowing the ferrite inside to crack. And you know, normally it would split in half, and then I would unwind as much as I could, take all the copper, and then just throw the rest, if it looks still good, into transformers. Otherwise just scrap, you know, like irony copper. So there we go. We still got, you look at that and say, okay, that's a low grade board. We don't even miss these 3 copper coils. Really good, you know. For some, you wouldn't want to go any further than this. Once you start taking off more of the transformers, then you might as well just depopulate the whole lot. Take off all the little transformers, throw them in transformers, take off your extruded aluminium, irony aluminium for your capacitors. You can, you know, remove some tiny little IC chips for gold recovery, and then you would throw the rest into scrap steel, because it's pretty much rubbish after that. Alright, and so this is just like a little junction box, still a low grade power board. So this UPS is pretty good. Sometimes they can be a little bit complicated. They just want to be a bit, you know, difficult. But this one was is put together well, good brand, and when they're put together well, they're usually easy to scrap. Okay, so I do want to cut as much wire off. Yeah, there you go. So I wouldn't want to remove this copper coil. It's starting to reduce the validity of it being a low grade board. But inside these, you know, some people want to go further, and you know, you can get a little bit of silver recovery as well. Inside these, you got your little copper coil. So you got a nice chunk of copper there. Really nice clean copper we can take from that. Usually you can see the cap on it. Usually you pop it. There we go. Now we can, so this is like Millbury copper. We can unwind this nice curly copper, and if we can get most of it, and then at the same time we're still getting, you know, scrap steel for this little piece of steel. And here we go. Really nice. You know, it's very fine copper, but it's still copper, and yeah, it all adds up. So there's another one there. This one doesn't have it, but yeah, otherwise low grade. Just depends on how much time you've got. Some scrappers got heaps of time. If you don't have much work going, well, make the most of it and scrap as much as you can, you know. I would, if I wasn't so busy. So all I need to do here is just take off this back panel so I can get myself some nice clean pressing steel, and end up with just a little chunk of dirty pressing steel, because it's all the ports and stuff. So it's only 3 screws. It looks a lot more intense. So you can see all the screws and all that. None of that needed to be taken apart, because all this stuff is only dirty pressing steel to us anyway. All this stuff, right? Sure, you might have brass in there if you really wanted to pick that out, you know, brass under these bolts. But you know, for a busy scrapper, ready to go as dirty pressing steel. And now we've got a nice piece of scrap clean pressing steel. Always remove your plastic, and there we go. If I wanted to be even more picky, clean off these plastic bits. Oh, there's only one more thing. There's a fan at the back there. There we go. Got our little fan, and now we can turn this fan into a motor. What I like to do is remove the fins so it just looks more like a motor. Not sure if every scrapyard requires it, but that's what I do. So now, no question, that's an electric motor. 70 cents a kilo. So that was the Mge UPS system. 6 lead acid batteries, quite a bit of wire to clean up, and yeah, all kinds, strippable wire, just good chunky mid-grade insulator wire. It's slightly better than mid-grade, but you know, as you know, it all balances out, because not all of it's really good anyway. 2 good power boards, 3 more copper coils for transformers, a bonus mid-grade board, another little low-grade board. As I said, we can take off the coil. Oh, I forgot to mention, you can see these plates here in between there. You got a little silver, a little round bit. It's usually silver, same as on the copper part. You can see there are 2 contacts and both sides. So some people like to take off those little contacts and keep them for silver recovery. Not sure how much silver, whether they're just heavily plated silver. I don't think they're solid silver. Like, I mean, like that whole round thing, that wouldn't be one just chunk of silver, you know, like a little silver bullion coin. You know, I'm pretty sure it's a copper base with heavy silver plating to make that good contact. But still, it's good heavy silver plating. If you had enough of this stuff, eventually you'll get an ounce. Yeah, good wire all over the place. Got to clean it all up, of course, and you know, and still got the cavity as clean scrap pressing steel. All right, well, that's that one. I think I might do one more, and we'll check it out and see what we can get out of that one. It's a really unusual one, so let's have a look. So this one here is an Upsonic, and it's a really, this must be the heaviest UPS for this size I've ever seen in my life. I don't know what's in it. It's quite a strange one, and yeah, I'm imagining there must be some kind of I want to lift it up to show you. Nah, can't. I'll get the front cover off and show you it as it is, because it's just strangely heavy, even with loaded with batteries. Oh yeah? Okay. Well, I might have been wrong. It might be simply batteries. So I can see 8 at the top. If there's 8 underneath, that's probably the reason. Even this steel top is pretty heavy. Gosh. I would have hated to be the technician that had to move this around. Don't know what's happening there. Yeah. Wow. And I've got 2 of these actually. So, well, I've certainly got a lot of batteries out of these 2 things. And as I was saying before, you know, I try and get these done before I get too many of them, just to get the weight off the property. And I've got a bit of a heads up from my recycler mate, my buyer, because he's sort of like, well, we're both kind of like registered eWaste recyclers. He's a bit more full on. He's a circuit breaker, because he's got accreditation and all that kind of stuff. He's got to follow a lot stricter guidelines, obviously, and he gets audited from the EPA on a regular basis, right? And so, you know, it's really strict on how he handles material and how he stores it and all that kind of thing. And from what he was saying, lately, or you know, it's been for a little while now, since new laws have passed, the EPA are getting very strong on e-waste recyclers and in the way that they're handling their stuff and stockpiling their hazardous material, like batteries are one thing. And so he did say to me that the last time he was audited, they said that, you know, they're going to be cracking down on a lot of e-waste recyclers, pretty much everyone. Like if you're advertising that you're an e-waste recycler, then chances are you're going to be on the list at some stage. So with that in mind, I've got to, even though I've always had that in mind, that, you know, being a registered eWaste recycler and advertising, you know, I always anticipated that at any time the EPA could rock up and say they want to check out my operation and you know, find out where my stuff's going and how I, you know, what I actually do here. I mean, I don't have machinery or anything like that. I'm technically not really processing e-waste. I'm just, you know, I pick it up and kind of dismantle it a little bit in preparation to send it to the appropriate recycler or buyer, you know. But I've got to, you know, be on the ball with it all, and, you know, before they do rock up, you know, they could do that one day, and apparently this year it's going to really be a crackdown. So I've got to really stay on top of my stuff here and make sure that I'm, you know, not only doing the right thing, but not overloading in my stockpile, because they go by, you know, the amount, the weight. Once it gets to a certain weight, you know, you've got to have different things in place. Storage, especially like e-waste in general. A lot of it has to be undercover. And because it's impossible for me to have everything undercover, I've got to, you know, process it as quick as possible and get it off site before I pick up too much and have tons of the stuff sitting around. And so certain things like these lead acid batteries, I've never actually let them go overboard and have, like, you know, over a ton anyway. I did have a big batch recently when that I put on video, but that didn't reach a ton. So yeah, but I'm just trying to be a little bit even more cautious and not even letting it go over, you know, a couple of 100 kilos in one place anyway. So this was one of the reasons why I wanted to get rid of all these UPSs now, so I can take the batteries to the scrapyard and get rid of them. I'm just going to try this year to be more on top of things that, like, the EPA might consider as hazardous material in volumes. All right. Well, that was 8 of these. Let me just get rid of these, and it's still heavy, so I'd imagine there's another 8 underneath. I'll just get rid of these batteries. Right. And even things like PCs, you know, I can have 200 PCs sitting around, and as I said, I can't really put everything undercover. I usually reserve that for good stuff that I can resell and so on. So at least I've got to get rid of all the stuff off the kind of driveway there. There must be, let me have a look. There's only about 40 PCs and about a dozen servers on the driveway part over that side. Around the back here I do have another 40 or so PCs. So It certainly has gone down in the last few weeks with all my processing, but yeah, I'm going to just try and, you know, I want to get rid of all the ones off the driveway and just leave the driveway free of e-waste as much as possible. And so if anyone did rock up, you know, it's not going to stand out as much. They'd have to, you know, literally come onto the into the back to find any e-waste sitting around. Yeah, there's definitely another caddy of batteries here, but I'm not really sure how to get to it. Maybe if I turned it around. Just get rid of this cover. Should have got rid of those screws before I actually put it up on the bench, but yeah, because like the last thing I want is, you know, hassle with any kind of EPA, and you know, it's all because of the new government regulations and so on. So, you know, they're really trying to crack down on things, because, you know, there's been factories that have stockpiled not necessarily e-waste, but stuff that you know, they had big factory fires and they were very really bad fires, and didn't do much for the environment. A lot of toxic smoke, and so I think they're trying to prevent stuff like that from happening, although they're probably looking at the wrong people if they're looking at me. I'm not that big, or I certainly don't have a stockpile factory size. Yeah, I'm just not sure. Wow, that's crazy heavy. And I've got another one. I'm going to be glad to get rid of these, I tell you. Get them completely off the property and at the scrapyard where they belong. All right. Well, a bit more weight off it. So it looks like oh gosh. Well, that's a relief. Now, so yeah, there's nothing UPS about this, apart from it's part of a UPS, external extra battery storage. There we go. God. Okay, so another 8, so that's 16 batteries. So, geez. But I have had, well, actually I've had 20 batteries, but they were only small size batteries. This is 16 full size power supply or UPS type batteries, so quite intense. So it's definitely, well, for the size it's a very compact UPS. Normally they're a lot longer, but it is quite deep, high. So, yeah. Wow. Well, I'm really glad to get rid of this chunk. Doesn't really bother me how it goes, whether it's clean or dirty pressing. That's clean. All right. Well, Whew. With this, it's, you know, quite very warm actually, very hot today, and very humid too. So, I'm dripping with sweat. It just makes it a little bit harder to focus when you've got sweat dripping down your face constantly. But there we go. So 16 full-size UPS batteries out of this one system. So there's another 16 to come in the other one, and I'll probably just get right onto that one off video. We've seen what they're like now. They're nothing spectacular to scrap. Yeah, I honestly thought though it was a UPS, because, you know, it had the UPS thing, well, it had something UPS written on it on the back. But yeah, this is just the additional backup battery module for UPS. But bonus, plenty of batteries, nice full-size batteries, Yuasa. All right, guys. Well, I tell you what, I've got to go in and cool down for a few minutes. It's just too hot out here. All right. Well, there you go. Just thought I'd catch up with you, do a few UPSs. I'll get rid of those batteries and all that. And yeah, I'm not sure what the next video will be about. I have managed to get a good entrance into the garage. Stuff at the back is just things that need to be depopulated. I've got all these Sony PVM monitors, small ones and the bigger ones. I've got to test some of them out for a few customers, and not sure what I'm going to do with the rest. I might just stockpile them for a while. But apart from that, it's just a lot of empty tubs and stuff. I'm emptying these cabinets, just finished this one off today, and I'm going to get rid of these filing cabinets because I don't need that storage space anymore, and I want that depth to the wall so I can start stacking up things like laptops and stuff when I pick them up, stuff that I'm going to sell. So things are looking pretty good. Just got a few stacks of PCs here. This is what I was talking about. I really want to just clear off these PCs. So I don't want PCs here anymore. When I bring them in, I'm going to bring them straight through the back, and I'm just going to dedicate this side to bins like this, you know, slot cards and cell phones and all other bits of aluminium and all that sort of stuff. So I want all my bins over this side now. And then so when I bring in stuff, and obviously here are all my tubs of my circuit boards and stuff. So when I bring stuff in, I want space here, no more tubs out the front here, where I can bring stuff straight in under cover, and things that I don't need to have under cover. I'll make room at the back there where I normally throw a whole heap of things. And yeah, and I also got this area here, but I mentioned once before I'm trying to get rid of this shelter cover thing. It's half fallen down, so I've got to knock this off and clean up this area too. But yeah, let's I'm just too hot today. But let's hope that this year's a pretty good one, and street scrapping is going to really break stuff up, like the videos up, and get out there and have a bit more fun, you know. And if I actually finish off everything and clean out, I'm going to be in a real good space, and yeah, I'll be able to focus on a few more fun things. Who knows, might even do some copper melts, but I keep saying that and never get around to it. I've got a few new clients, as I've mentioned, and I'm constantly bringing in a lot of stuff, so it keeps me really busy, but it's kind of the same kind of stuff over and over. So you know, you only need to see so much of that. But anyway, guys, I just wanted to do a quick catch up with you. First video for 2021. Hopefully I'll get a lot more done and get to chat with a few of you guys and watch some of the other scrappers videos on YouTube. Keep scrapping, have fun, and I'll catch you real soon.